Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of Deviant History. This creepy story was told by a villager from a remote area of the Vologda region in Russia. A man invited his relatives for a family celebration and dinner. A large wooden table and long benches were placed in his backyard. It was a sunny summer day, so the idea to sit outside looked wonderful, and everybody was very happy about that. Now, the sauna had been built at the edge of his land, and the small wooden building was clearly visible to all the guests. It was the only place to wash. The gentleman lived in an old house without a bathroom and without plumbing. So the guests had to visit the sauna after their journeys on the dusty countryside roads in the summer heat. After several hours, everyone there was ready to celebrate. But one of the host's daughters was still absent. The other guests were already sitting at the table when she finally knocked at the gates. The woman apologized, saying that she had been very busy that day. First, she had to complete all her errands and water her garden. She was preparing to leave when a neighbor came by and told her some bad news about her cow. The cow had been grazing in the meadow with all the other village cows, but suddenly it got spooked and ran away into the woods. The woman spent 3 hours looking for her cow. The phone connection was poor, so she was not able to call her father. She was going to be late to the family celebration, and she was also very tired after searching for her cow. The weird thing was that the cow's behavior did not seem normal at all. There had not been any problem with it before that, and she had owned the cow for 3 years, and all the time the animal stayed calm. But when she found her cow, she took it home and closed the stable as she always did after the cow had grazed. First, the cow kept mooing. It did calm down quickly when she came back there, but the moment she left the stables, it became agitated again. The woman was already completely upset when somebody else knocked at her door. This time, it was the local priest. She had promised to sell him some milk, but forgot with all the day's craziness. Now she was apologizing. The priest said he could come by later. It looked like seeing her father and the entire family that day was impossible. She even thought that something or someone did not want her to go. Her family really did not get together all that often, so her desire to see her relatives was very strong. Although it was not the normal time to milk the cow, she decided to do that for the respected priest. The cow became even more nervous. It kept moving and tried to kick the milk pail, and it hit its owner with its tail several times. It was the hardest milking she had ever done in her entire life. When the priest heard that she was going to her father's farm, he offered to give her a ride there. The woman was so happy that she hugged him. They went out to the car, and several times the priest tried to turn on the car engine. No result. The woman sighed and said she would walk. By the time she reached the end of the village, the priest had gotten the car running again, and it was working just fine. When he approached the woman, he stopped and offered her a ride again. But when she got in, the motor just stopped. The priest looked embarrassed, and he did not understand what was going on. He had bought the car recently, and he had no problems before that. But the woman sighed, thanked him again, got out of the car, and continued walking. Her worried father was waiting at the front of his farmhouse, and they hugged, and the family asked her to join them at the table. But she wanted to go to the sauna first and wash. Her aunt just sighed and complained about today's youth who seemed to ignore all the old wisdom. The sunset painted the clouds blood red. The family passed the dessert. Only the aunt kept looking at the sauna building. Her aunt shook her head and repeated, "Not good, not good at all." Suddenly, one of the boys remembered the story about the creature that lived in the sauna and woke up at sunset. That is what the taboo was about exactly. The aunt got pissed off and told him not to even mention the creature while somebody was in the sauna. Her father was worried too. He looked at his wristwatch. His daughter had been in the sauna for 40 minutes. Too many people were talking at the dinner, and the time just went by so fast. He walked back and forth in the backyard until his son offered to knock at the sauna's door to check and make sure that she was okay. There was no response from the inside. The sauna's window was all fogged up, although no one, being a sane person, would heat the sauna so much in the summertime. The men decided to break the door, which was locked from the inside. The hot steam covered everything. Nothing was even visible inside for a few minutes. Then the sauna just looked empty. While all the other relatives waited outside, the woman's aunt was shaking and mumbling a prayer. When the steam dispersed, the father saw something hanging beside the washing utensils. At first he thought it was his daughter's clothes. But then he realized there was long hair around it. The next moment was just horrible. The blood. That was not actually clothes, but human skin. The flesh disappeared. On the floor they found a few bones. The woman's father moaned and fainted. The ambulance accompanied the police that came that night. The police interviewed all the relatives. The investigation still has not been able to accuse any human being who could be assumed as the murderer. A stroke was finally marked as the cause of death, although there was little left of the body. The neighbors felt sorry for the father who lost his daughter. Some people who heard the story said the man became insane with his grief. Others said that traditions just don't appear out of nowhere, that one should pay attention and not disturb the old ways, especially in the sauna. Russians in remote areas traditionally believed that saunas are the border space between the human world and the demonic one. Witches used to provide their initiations there. The space had its lord, called a bannock. That was one of the most dangerous folklore creatures. Bannocks could cruelly torture the humans who risked using its sonnet after sunset and disturbing it in this way. In folklore stories, it is depicted as a very strong, human-like but furry creature with a long nose, large claws, and large teeth. This belief is still alive today in the rural areas of Russia, and this was where the story was told. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Come back again next week for another story in Deviant History. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel and tell your friends.